tough times cause for people to also, work harder and do things to fend for their families. And so the bar for every software engineer is going up too,
Yeah.
And so, we also put in a fight and get better and try to claim why we should keep our jobs. So
That's true.
Artificial intelligence is a kind of different monster.
Mm.
It came at a cheaper cost. When computers came in, there was a cost barrier. But right now, everyone is pushing on making that cost so low. Everyone is pushing on those open source models. But the delayed adoption.
welcome to Technology Podcast, your one place where we break down the latest trends in technology and finance, where we dissect AI and economic strategy. Thank you for tuning in. We are your hosts, Elvis and Explicit.
Yeah, I'm Explicit, the founder of Lennox, an AI tool that helps you personalize your educational material. If you're interested in music, it teaches you using that. Try Lennox at len-x.co.
And my name is Elvis. I'm the founder of Throwly, the first agentic buttering platform that allows cashless exchange of goods and services. We're basically the next Facebook marketplace that anything from search, negotiation, bargaining, and delivery is all handled by agents. Thank you for tuning in again.
Yeah. So, in our previous podcast, which you can see at the attached link, we got into details of who was cooked, who had an opportunity to go up. So we're now just like finalizing the situation of where software engineering as a degree and as a job stands at this day and moment.
Basically, me, the software engineer, am I cooked? Or am I not cooked? To answer the question, I wanted to say software engineers aren't cooked. There's a lot of talk online saying, we need software engineers for obvious reasons. But what I believe and what I've heard from a few other software engineers has actually been optimistic. They say, yes, the demand for software engineers is shrinking, but at the end of the day, software engineering will be the last job to be replaced or fully automated, because you'll always need someone to maintain the systems or build the systems and just invent something new with software engineering. So yeah, that's a very optimistic view. Now, some caveats include, this was something we said a year ago before Opus 4.6 or 4.5. So then the question is, will we even need software engineering or like software engineers to orchestrate, right? 2 years from now. That's kind of where we're going with OpenClaw. The dream is to have agents that have sub-agents that orchestrate themselves without, any human in the loop. So it's very tough. Yeah, I think we were very right a year ago. Today it's tricky. But yeah, I'm still optimistic, You can only hope and dream sometimes.
All I can hear is a software engineer who's trying to revive the hope. So, funny thing is, yesterday I saw, I think his name is Barry Cheney, the founder of Claude. He recently made an update where Claude now has a loop. So the loop is kind of an equivalent of, it's kind of like OpenClaw somewhat. So the loop, you can tell it that check this PR, make sure that the CI passes. So, back then, the role of a software engineer, at least in the past 2 years, in companies that have started like using AI to code, right, was to go and check if the tests were passing in the GitHub. That's like what was one of the jobs, right?
Sure.
See if the CI tests are passing. If they are not passing, copy the link of the PR or the comments from Cloud. Now come back with them to Cloud for it to see what's not working and what is working. But with this loop, we just need one person who sets up, because like it has a maximum life of 3 days. So the loop can check something for 3 days. It's not just for PRs. It's a loop it just can work on anything that is like Cloud Code. I think they just gave it a heartbeat, just like OpenClaw, monitoring if there's something happening. So, you know, I see the relevance of software engineers degrading by the day.
You talked about cope and hope. Just hearing you talk about that just actually got me happy because uh, I think S is just going to restructure,
Yeah.
So again, like you mentioned, we won't have to just now do code, but maybe could do more GTM, go to market.
Yeah.
So that's getting in front of a camera, you're a software engineer trying to promote, do marketing. That's, being the forward deployed software engineer that goes into another company to then help invent AI solutions for that company's unique business, or just software engineers that fully understand the problem very well, in more detail.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Not to be the bearer or the doomsday guy. Okay, today I'm trying to be a better person and deliver better news to people. um, so, one of the things that we mentioned in our last podcast was that if you're not in the game for the love of the game, you are definitely going away. I think because the way I see, and even coming from what Elvis is talking about, the restructuring is going to involve a huge cut of jobs, right? We needed a lot of software engineers before, but going into the future, because of the restructures and because of the tools that we have, we're going to need like less software engineers, which is going to make the field really competitive because you have to be really good at moving around these agents that you'll be using, and you have to know like the business. You have to know like kind of like the business model of the company, the value that the company is providing, and the whole architecture of the product that you'll be working on. So
Sure.
if you want to continue to be a software engineer, you gotta love it because you cannot fake the amount of work that you need to put to survive in the AI world.
I like that. You see,
How our software engineering is going to be. One, you're going to be required to come out with higher output as a worker. Two, your quality should be higher as well. And all those just tends back to knowing the architecture, providing more value, and overall that, and because it's going to be competitive.
yeah, we're already seeing that play out in the job market. Before AI, every software engineer was almost entitled to a job. But in today's market, research is showing that only the top 30% of software engineers might be employable in the next future. It's getting really tough. So standards are high.
They definitely are.
But also, yeah, on our software engineers cooked, there are two things that I am very bullish on, which is HCI, human computer interaction, and basically how we interact with the AI models, right? If you think of a CEO, yes, he could replace the entire team and have agents, right? But at the end of the day, maybe he wants some companionship or he just prefers working with people too, right? And so that HCI component, people always just we're social beings and we always want to work in teams with people, right? So you won't fully get rid of every software engineer just because you can, even if yes, you want to increase shareholder value, right? You won't just want to be by yourself. And then two, trust. Trust is going to be a very big moat because yes, you can talk to an agent and make them do stuff to you, but it's only a human being that can take accountability and ownership of a problem. When something goes wrong, maybe you as a CEO, you want someone to blame and be angry at. You can't complain and be angry or punish your agent, but maybe if you're a terrible CEO, you'd want someone to take on that blame. And so yeah, humans or software engineers will still be very needed because of the trust and the human in the loop / HCI interaction that's needed.
That's so true. That's especially I'm so keen to agree to the HCI part, which is what we talked about in one of in the latest episode when we talked about like at the end of the day, it's about the connection and taste that you come with, and taste is one of the things that will actually make companies want a couple people. Of course, software engineering as a whole is not being cut off. It's just going to leave like a few software engineers, and you of the few engineers that are being left, you're gonna have great tests, and you have to be relatable to people. So because like at the end of the day, the products that these companies are making are going to be serving people at the end of the day. So you have to be relatable to those people, and you have to have great taste.
True. And also, it's the humans that maybe talk to the clients or stakeholders. They'll understand the problem and might innovate a new solution.
Yeah.
You know, because again, they're the humans that really understand what the customers
Mhm.
facing the problem. Another thing too that makes me very hopeful is delayed adoption. You know, it took the personal computer 10 years to be actually fully adopted. So us thinking that AI is going to do a substantial amount of damage in 2 years is very, very
No, you know, that's a fun thing that artificial intelligence is a kind of different monster.
Mm,
It came at a cheaper cost.
mm.
When computers came in, there was a cost barrier. But right now, everyone is pushing on making that cost so low. Everyone is pushing on those open source models. But the delayed adoption, I do agree that there's some delayed adoption because of like lack of trust to agents right now. But I think agents are being improved really fast. These companies are not playing in terms of making them more efficient and more accurate. Once most companies are kind of satisfied that they're kind of now accurate in most cases, yeah, I think, yeah.
True. And always remember, only 0.3% of humans use and pay for AI. So you're very early in the game. Very early.
How many companies though?
That is true.
Because those figures, they might have some bias to them because like you might be using a product that uses AI, but we are not counting those people who are not directly using. It's like you're using AI subconsciously through some products that you might not know that they're using AI. So we might count like people who are using directly Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude or Grok, but there is other people who are using like third-party services. Yeah.
True. As we wind up here, I wanted to give a few advice to be uncooked if you're a software engineer. Basically, you want to pivot to AI if you haven't yet. You want to get into the top 30% of software engineers in whatever domain you are in. So yeah, pivot into AI, and then also join a startup or just start working on stuff. Start building custom solutions and have ownership/equity, because there's so much upside. You want to be the person that owns and leverages this AI to escape, layoffs and everything. And then also you want to get into research. The biggest, or the people in the best place right now are the AI researchers, because they're the ones in the front lines and they're the ones building the system. So if you could be that, that's the best place to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I think in overall, right, if you're software engineering, whatever you're focusing on, even if you're focusing on cloud computing, even whatever your focus is on, or even if you're not in software engineering, whatever domain you will be focusing on, just try to see if AI can have a play in your field and how you can use it as a leverage to move you forward and make you the best in the field, because I think it has become really easier to scale up your skills as compared to what it was before pre-AI. So just check out the AI tools that are being used in your industry. You can just search that up and find it out on the web. The information is mostly readily available. So
Yes. That concludes our segment on Are software engineers cooked or not cooked? Thank you.
thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.